As if one movie wasn't bad enough, they had to make a sequel. Hey everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be talking about Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. And this was the sequel to the 2005 film Fantastic Four, and this one came out 2 years later in 2007. And yeah, this was during a dark period of superhero films in Hollywood, because it looked like it could have been like, 1997 again. Funny enough, this was in 2007. So we had this movie, we had Ghost Rider, the first Ghost Rider movie that came out, and Spider-Man 3, the last Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi collaboration. Which was at the time considered the worst Spider-Man movie. In my opinion, that is still the worst Spider-Man movie of all time. So we had these three superhero movies that, come on, guys, we just got superhero films back on track. You don't want to kill it all over again. And Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer was, to me, I thought out of those three films that I just mentioned, I thought Rise of the Silver Surfer wasn't that bad, just like the first Fantastic Four movie. I actually preferred Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer more than... Well, I don't know. I have to see Spider-Man 3 again. Maybe I do prefer Spider-Man 3 over this one. Either way, they're all not great movies. All of them. Especially, I don't even want to talk about Ghost Rider, because that movie was garbage. But the other two had potential to be more. And look, whether you like Spider-Man 3 more or Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer more, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, most people say both of them are garbage. Me, I think there are some moments in both films that were memorable and had potential, and I'm going to go into Rise of the Silver Surfer. So Spider-Man 3 we'll talk about another time. First of all, once again, I have to say the cast. The cast in the movie, there's nothing wrong with them, and I think they get a lot of flack for being in a bad movie. For me, the movie's not that bad, but once again, I have to say that. I know a lot of people do think it's bad. That's why I say bad movie, to make it more relatable to you guys out there. But yeah, the cast, there's nothing wrong with the cast. Whether you like the movie or hate the movie, the cast did a fine job. Even Jessica Alba, who gets the most flack out of anybody, she did the best she could with what was given to her from what the direction of what the director told her to do. She is a beautiful woman. Let's get that out of the way. But yes, the director did handle her poorly sometimes. And maybe that's more of the problem, not how she acted, but how she was directed. I think everyone can once again agree that Michael Chiklis as the Thing and Chris Evans as the Human Torch are, the better characters in the film. Maybe because Human Torch has a more story in this one. The movie kind of not centers on him. It gives him a little bit of a subplot going on throughout the film, because he gets affected by the Silver Surfer, who has affected his powers. So whenever he touches someone, he absorbs their powers or switches. It kind of gets a little confusing at the end when all of them give him his powers, and all of them don't have no powers, but he's the only one with all their powers, even though they established earlier in the film that that they switched powers if they touched him. Like, if Johnny touched Sue, for an example, he would become invisible and she would become fire. But at the end, they kind of ignored that and just gave Johnny all their powers combined. Okay. There are some head-scratching moments in this movie, like maybe a little bit more than the last one, where, if you really care. But at this point, come on, you guys, you gotta expect this from this movie. This movie isn't it's a popcorn film, plain and simple. Shut off your brain and just enjoy whatever they're throwing at you, because it's so ridiculous sometimes. And I guess the Fantastic Four are a ridiculous concept to begin with, if you really think about it. So maybe it's just a tough property to really nail. And but for what they did, I think they did an okay job. I just think it's a tricky property. Bringing in the Silver Surfer was really cool, because that brought in the cosmic aspect that at the time no superhero movies had really delve into. Nowadays, you know, we can say, yeah, Marvel's been going into that territory and doing it better than this movie. But at the time, I remember it was something cool and different that a superhero movie never went into yet. And I wanted to explore more of that. Unfortunately, Galactus, who was also in the film, was just a puff cloud. They kind of hint that there could be something else inside the cloud, because you do see a shape or form inside there with the light all around as well. But for the most part, it's a cloud, plain and simple, and we don't actually get to see Galactus's true form, which is something that pissed off a lot of fans, including myself. At the time, I remember defending it a little bit, but now I look back at it, and I have to agree that was really a dumb decision to make in this movie. If you're not going to prepare to bring in Galactus, then you shouldn't have done him at all, and you should have maybe not even done the Surfer at all, if you're just going to cop out like that. The special effects, for some reason, I remember at the time, you know, this movie and the last one, I forgot to mention it in my last Fantastic Four review, but yeah, the special effects, I remember at the time, they looked like they were really cool, you know? But now looking back at it, I can see that the effects haven't aged well. Some of the action sequences might have improved over the last movie, but are still not mind-blowing. I guess the highlight one was maybe the chase with the Surfer, where Johnny had to chase after the Surfer. Then we get some battle, or they had to save a Ferris wheel from falling in London, and I thought, this is not really exciting. And then we had a whole destruction scene at the end. Well, they started chasing Doom at the end, because Doom returns in this one, who's practically the same as the last movie. If you weren't impressed by him in the last movie, you won't be impressed by him in this movie. He's just there causing trouble, and I still don't see how he's like the big, you know, bad Marvel villain of all time. They haven't really pulled that off yet in this movie either. I think he's an okay villain again, but he's just there causing trouble, and not even like Joker level trouble. He's just there like, hey, I'm here to cause trouble, ha ha ha, and then easily defeated. And what can I say, right? But yeah, the stakes don't seem, even though there's like big stakes at the end, it doesn't feel big at the end. It just feels like, okay, stuff is happening, but I don't really care by this point. And it's not terrible, like, you sort of care, I guess. One of the characters die, but then obviously, or they make you think they're dead, and it's just, it's tough to care when, like, the action just isn't cool, I guess. For the most part, guys, I'm going to give Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer a 5 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10, yeah. It's not as good. Look, no one's going to like this movie, okay? I thought it was alright. 5 out of 10, that means it's good and bad, whatever. It's split down the middle for me. I liked the first one a little bit more because I felt there was a little bit more effort put into it. This one kind of got a little bit more sloppy. Look, it's more entertaining than Green Lantern. That's what I can say for sure. Or Catwoman, or Batman and Robin, and those bad movies, those bad superhero movies, or even my top 10 worst movies of all time. I found this movie more entertaining than those ones. Maybe it's not saying much for a lot of people, but it's saying a lot for me because I enjoyed it on that level. And could it have been a lot better? Oh, totally. It could have been totally a lot better, but they messed up a lot. And that's why they're making a reboot now to hopefully do things better. But I'm already hearing not a lot of great things about that movie. But I'm going to judge for myself. I'm not going to be like people boycotting the movie because we want the rights to go back to Marvel. Look, as long as they're making good movies, who cares? If they screw up, then yes, let the rights go back to Marvel. But for now, I'm going to judge the movie on my own, just like I judged these two movies on my own, and I like them a little bit more than other people did. So hopefully I'll like this new movie just as much, or maybe even more. I'm hoping more. Because yeah, even though I enjoy these movies, it's not on the level that I want to enjoy them on, you know? I want to like the Fantastic Four even more. But I'm starting to think that maybe these characters are a tough property to crack. Maybe Fox hasn't really, they haven't figured out that proper way to break them yet. And if they don't break it with this reboot movie coming out, then hopefully Marvel does get the rights back and show us the way it should be done, because so far they've been on a roll. So guys, that was my latest review, and I hope you liked it. If you did, please press the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I do a lot of these movie reviews where I like to talk about a lot of these films individually. Sometimes I'll do top 10s and all that too. So until next time, guys, take care.